Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're tackling your own car repairs, you know how daunting a dashboard warning light can be, especially when it's the airbag light. Today, we're diving deep into a specific and critical code, B0110, which points to a fault with the driver's side front impact sensor. So, grab your tools, and let's get this sorted out safely and effectively. First off, what does B0110 actually mean? Your car's computer, the EC, is telling you there's a problem with the signal from the front impact sensor on the driver's side. The signal might be out of the expected range, or there could be an open circuit, meaning the connection is completely broken. This is serious because this sensor's job is to detect a frontal collision and tell the airbag control module to deploy the airbags. If this sensor isn't working, your airbags might not deploy when you need them most. So, this isn't a light you should ignore. Before we even think about touching anything, we need to talk about safety. We are working with a supplemental restraint system, or SRS, which includes the airbags. This system is designed to deploy with explosive force. Accidental deployment can cause serious injury. So, the absolute first step, before you do anything else, is to disconnect the car's battery. And I don't just mean disconnecting the negative terminal. A lot of these systems have backup power. The best practice is to disconnect the negative terminal. Wait at least 15 to 30 minutes to allow the system's capacitors to fully discharge, and then proceed. Always consult your vehicle's service manual for the specific procedure and waiting time. Safety is non-negotiable here. Alright, with the battery safely disconnected and the system powered down, let's find this sensor. The B0110 code specifies the driver's side front impact sensor. You'll typically find it mounted directly to the vehicle's frame. The most common locations are on the front frame rail, sometimes called the chassis leg, or on the radiator core support, or even directly behind the bumper beam. You're looking for a small, box-like sensor, usually held on by 1 or 2 bolts, with a wiring connector attached. It's positioned to detect the rapid deceleration of a frontal impact. You might need to remove the front bumper cover or a splash shield to get a clear view and access to it. Once you've located the sensor, it's time to play detective. The first thing to check is the physical condition of the sensor and its mounting. Has the car been in a minor front-end bump recently? Even a parking lot incident? Look for any signs of physical damage to the sensor itself, cracks in the casing, or if it's been bent or knocked loose. The sensor must be securely bolted to the frame. If it's loose, it can't properly detect the forces of an impact, which could trigger a fault code. Make sure the bolts are tight and the sensor is sitting flush against its mounting point. Next, and this is a very common culprit, we need to inspect the wiring and the electrical connector. This area at the front of the car is exposed to everything: water, road, salt, dirt, and debris. Unplug the connector from the sensor. Be gentle, as these plastic clips can become brittle over time. Now, look closely at the connector pins, both on the sensor side and the harness side. Are they clean and shiny, or are they covered in green or white crusty stuff? That's corrosion, and it's a major cause of open circuits or poor signals. Also, inspect the wires leading to the connector. Look for any breaks, chafing where the insulation is rubbed off, or any signs of damage from impacts or rodents. Give the wires a gentle tug to make sure they are secure in the connector. So, how do we fix it? The repair depends entirely on what you found during your diagnosis. If the only issue is corrosion on the connector pins, you might get lucky. You can try cleaning the pins carefully with a small brush and some electrical contact cleaner. Make sure everything is completely dry before you plug it back in. Sometimes, adding a little dielectric grease to the connector can help prevent future corrosion. However, if the sensor itself is physically damaged, cracked, or heavily corroded internally, cleaning won't cut it. The only proper fix is to replace the front impact sensor. These sensors are precision instruments and are not repairable. When you buy a replacement, make sure it's the correct part for your car's specific year, make, and model. It's often best to go with an OEM or high-quality aftermarket part for safety components like this. The replacement process is straightforward. Unbolt the old sensor, bolt the new one in its place, and securely plug in the connector. What if the sensor and connector look fine? The problem could be further up the wiring harness. This is where a multimeter becomes essential to check for continuity and resistance in the wires, running from the sensor back to the airbag control module. This can be more advanced, and you'll likely need a wiring diagram for your vehicle. After you've completed the repair, whether it was cleaning the connector or replacing the sensor, it's time to reassemble everything. Make sure all splash shields and bumper covers are back in place. Now, you can reconnect the battery. Once the battery is connected, you'll need to clear the fault code from the system using an OBD2 scanner that can access the SRS module. A basic code reader might not be able to do this. After clearing the code, start the car. The airbag light should go through its initial check and then turn off. If it stays off, congratulations. You've likely fixed the problem. Take it for a short test drive and check again. If the light comes back on, you may have a more complex wiring issue or a problem with the airbag control module itself. And at that point, it might be best to consult a professional mechanic. And that's the process for diagnosing and fixing the B0110 front impact sensor fault. Remember, always prioritize safety by disconnecting the battery and allowing the system to discharge. Be thorough in your inspection, and don't cut corners on safety components. Thanks so much for watching. If this video helped you out, give it a thumbs up. Drop a comment below, and don't forget to subscribe for more DIY car repair guides. See you in the next one.